Got my back on the ropes. I don't make this bread, then I'm probably toast.
So we could just get straight into it, and I'll just give you the floor and let you just talk and tell us about your story.
I play soccer. I've had 3 ACL tears in 4 years. It started my junior year of high school. January 22nd was the first time that I tore it. ACL meniscus. Thought it was just a normal knock on the knee, nothing crazy. A month later, I ended up getting surgery. Come back senior year, October, after 8-9 months after surgery, ball out, have a great season. Get called to the under-20 national camp summit in January. Play great, everything's going good. And then I decided to take a gap year out of high school because most of the recruiting happens for soccer in your junior year, and I missed the majority of that. October, during my gap year, I tore it a second time, and I knew exactly when I tore it. I was just like, why me? Why again? Why now? When everything was going so good. 6 days after I tore it the second time, I was in surgery, got it done. I'm like, okay, I can still make it back. I still have time before I come to Virginia Tech to play. And then I come to Tech for summer academy, freshman year last year. Play for the 4 or 5 weeks that I'm here, practicing, finishing off my rehab. And I finally get cleared about a week or two before Georgetown. I start that game. It's my first game. I'm excited. I feel great. Never better, never fitter. And a minute into that game, I tore it the third time. Doing a move that I've done a million times. I was working on in practice the week before, and I just stepped, and I was like, what just happened? Like, that really just happened. Everything was going so smooth. I got the 6 weeks after surgery done at home back in California. And that's where I'm at now, just 10 months after rehab, after surgery the third time.
That's tough, man. I mean, I feel like those are the type of stories, or those are the type of situations that people get into, and they never picture themselves being in that situation. Did you ever feel like this was something that would ever happen to you in your soccer career?
Honestly, no. I only ever had small injuries. Besides, I broke my leg in 7th grade, but that was 2.5 months and I was fine. Other than that, I've just had small injuries, like a little twisted ankle here, a Charlie horse. So looking back, if I was looking at myself from the past, looking at myself now, I would be like, there's no way. That could not happen.
Yep. I feel you. I mean, yeah, that's how I felt, when I got injured, and I had my little situation. It just doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like something that you could ever predict. But I want to know if there's anybody that you witnessed get through injury, that kind of helped you pull through, kind of gave you some inspiration to say, okay, if this person got through this situation, then, there's some hope for myself.
The first time I just in rehab, I saw all the other people going through rehab back in California. People I never knew. I just saw these people going through injuries that were even harder than mine. There was this 50-year-old guy going through a knee replacement. I'm here 17 years old, in great shape pre-surgery. I was never injured. So it went real smooth for me, but for other people, I'm like, okay, if he can do this at his age with his surgery, I can do it for sure. And the second time I was just like, okay, I did it the first time. I came back. I know I can do it again and play at a high level. The third time I'm thinking, okay, who's had this many knee surgeries and is able to play? And I was looking at Sean Livingston, Warriors, and I saw when he had his knee surgery, I mean, his knee was destroyed. No doctor thought he would even be able to run again. And now he's NBA champion.
Well, what about off the field? Was there anybody that you just witnessed, overcome something challenging just in life in general that made you say okay, they may have it harder than me and they're still staying positive, they're still persevering?
Definitely. Especially after the second time, I started looking at life differently. I was like, it could be a lot worse. like some people have lost family members. Some people uh, have had like life-threatening injuries or life-threatening diseases, something. So I tried putting it into like a different perspective. Like I could be in a way worse position. Like I'm still healthy. I still have all this other stuff going for me. Uh, it's just a little different now because I don't have soccer, you
Right.
know?
I don't know. A lot of things go on, but I feel like, one of the biggest things are the lies you have to like battle through to get back. I feel like there's just so many lies about your situation that you just have to block out, like the fact that you won't recover or whatever it is. Like I want to know like what were some pretty, prominent lies that you had to just fight back against.
I think the second thing, like the second time, it was way harder because at the time I was not committed to Virginia Tech. Like I didn't know I was going to come here. And so the biggest thing for me was like, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I don't know, um, like what I'm doing with my life. Like I'm not at school. I don't have soccer. So I think the biggest thing for me was I was going nowhere,
Mm,
completely stopped with my life. And
mm,
I think the second time that was the hardest thing to like fight through.
mm,
Um, and like after this third one, just currently still just thinking that I won't be able to play. I think that's the hardest thing. Like I've talked to like Paul, my counselor, about accepting if I can't play, but going through rehab, thinking that I won't be able to makes rehab a lot harder.
mhm,
I think fighting through that uh, aspect that I won't be able to be where I was before is really hard to accept.
mhm. No, I hear you 100%. That was kind of what made rehab difficult for me when I was, working on coming back, and I just realized that it wasn't smart for me anymore. But honestly, I feel like there's good in those moments where you're just away from the field and, where you're kind of forced to just think about who you are outside of soccer, and my next question is like who did you notice yourself to be, just beyond soccer?
That's a tough question. That's like what I battle a lot with, especially like the second and third time. Um, I found myself just to be a lot more aware of just mental health.
Mm,
And I didn't know that about myself. Like before all this started, happy kid, no problems, loved school, loved how my life was. And then once these started to hit, it was just like, I I have some problems, and I notice a lot of other people do. So I think I noticed that about myself that I wouldn't have found out just how important mental health is, um, like for myself and for other people, and just like advocating for it.
perfect perspective. And I know that you're involved in Hokies helping Hokies heal,
Mhm.
and that's just, I think that's a great opportunity for people to be mentors and to be mentees. So kind of talk about your experiences with that, being a mentee and like why being a mentor is kind of important for you now.
Um, just being able to help people go through what I went through. I don't want people to struggle the way I did my freshman year because I came from California, didn't know anybody. This was like a leap. Then that was first 4 or 5 weeks before I tore it the third time. Everything was great. I loved everything. Classes were good. Soccer was good. I loved everyone here. And then once I got injured, I was just like, what am I doing here? Like, I have no idea. Like my grades weren't that good. Didn't have soccer. Didn't have really close friends that I could talk to about like how I was feeling. So I think that's one of the biggest things is I don't want people to feel and like go through what I went through like alone. Like I want to be able to be there and help people like I wish um, I had at the beginning of that before I sought out help.
I hear you, man. That's big. I feel like it definitely does make you think outside of yourself, not only on the field, but like off the field. And you kind of become more aware of all the people going through that when you finally go through it yourself. So, I mean, yeah, I appreciate you, sharing your story and, being vulnerable and just letting us know, who you are on and off the field.